Hello, my friends. This is Heather. This is episode 110 of the Back to Me podcast. And this week's amazing human being is Fawn Gilmore Kraut. And we are talking about how we have a tendency sometimes to lose ourselves and what's important to us in relationships, all in the interest of trying to keep the peace. But is that always the healthiest thing? Have a listen. Let me know what you think. Of course, share, subscribe, like, all those good things. I hope you're doing well. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Hi, my friends. Welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is Heather, and I am super excited that you're here. You are going to hear some tips and some tricks and some ideas to help you live your happiest and healthiest self. I call it Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, back to me, then you can take better care of others, and we can all make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way, and I am super happy that you're here. Hello, my friend. How are you? I hope you're having an outstanding day. This is Heather. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is the Friday edition, which means I get to talk to an amazing human being about something that I find interesting and that I think you'll find interesting. And today I am talking to Fawn Gilmore Kraut, correct? Yes. I'm always afraid I'm going to butcher someone's last name. Welcome. It's so nice. Thank you so much for taking some time to come and hang out and have a conversation. And I always like to start the conversation with, what exactly are you working on these days? And how the heck did you get into that? I know it's two big, broad questions.
No, I know. Great big broad questions. I'm so happy to be here. I just want to say thank you so much, Heather, for inviting me to come and chat with you and with your audience. It's so fun.
Yes.
And I'm super happy to be here. So and honored. So I so enjoy listening to your podcast. So I'm super excited to get to be with you on it. So yeah, I am working. I just right now just got off the call with a gal in Europe, potential client that we're talking, and the work I do is really, and what I'm really passionate about is helping women, primarily women, and usually single women or women who are not currently in a relationship or they may be in a, as they call it, situationship or something along those lines, who really want to have a healthy, lasting, loving partnership with their life partner, with the love of their life. And for whatever reason, it's not happening. Perhaps they've been through a whole series of relationships. They keep attracting the wrong kind of person, or it ends, whatever. It's just not working. And I love working with women along those lines to help them clear away all of the blocks. Most of them are internal. Some are external, mostly internal. Everything that is blocking love from thriving in their life, from them attracting the person who's right for them and really creating a healthy, lasting relationship. That is what gets me up in the morning.
And it's so valuable. I mean, yeah. I can just think of the number of people that I've known who, that the relationship they're in is not the healthiest place for them to be, but you don't know how to help them. Right?
Right. And you can. I mean, when you're on the outside looking in, to someone else's relationship, they generally, unless they ask for help, right? So, yeah, the women who come to me are ready. They're ready. They're like, they've had it. They're done with the
circling around.
repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, and the different results, of course, never happen. And so when you finally reach this point, which is what, was what happened for me as well. You finally reach this point where you're like, yeah, something's got to shift here. And I'm realizing that it's probably me.
Do you find that a lot of people realize that it's them when they come to you, or are they hoping for just some kind of formula of how to find the Bachelor, that show, The Bachelor? Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that show drives me
I
crazy.
can't watch it. I've
I
seen
don't even
maybe
like
2
the commercials.
episodes of it. I know, I'm like,
I can't even watch the
"Please
commercials.
take this off the air," just on so many levels, unless it's like, no. But, um, yeah, I mean, I try to in all of my communications, I just wanna give it to people straight. I think we all want the truth. And, it's there is no it'd be great if there was this quick, easy formula. If that was the case, we'd all be in loving, beautiful, lasting relationships.
Right.
Download my 3 steps to finding love, easy peasy. Yeah, it's a, the women who come to me, if they've heard me talk, know that I'm not gonna give them I'd love to give them an easy answer, I really would. But, and there's a lot of there's a lot of dating coaches out there, especially, what to say on the first date, how to do your dating profile, how to, or yeah, who are, giving you simple tips, and those can be helpful. But if you haven't really done the work on yourself, you're just going to keep getting what you get, and no amount of little easy tricks is going to help you really change that outcome.
And your perfect dating profile won't necessarily find you your perfect mate.
Exactly.
It
It
doesn't
won't.
it doesn't seem to that doesn't connect for me. And it's almost like I think maybe because I studied some marketing, it's like marketing won't necessarily get you the product of your dreams, right?
Right. Right. No, it won't. And you can put anything on a dating profile, but it's really so. So, for example, I do a workshop every month, and I can tell you more about that later. But in this workshop, we ask us the women, we look at what is it that I really want in a partner, and we have so much fun with that. It's got to be all these great things, and like, emotionally available, and he needs to be, financially stable, and he needs to, of course, be handsome, and, no baggage at all, and he needs to,
Yeah,
right?
whatever.
And it's great. I mean, it's generally, I find we all kind of want the same thing. It's not, I mean, it's universal and,
Are we all looking for Prince
variation.
Charming?
Kind of, maybe, but then second part is we look at what have we been attracting? What has
Oh,
been showing up in my life? And that's another story. And that's when we get into people who are emotionally unavailable, or people who are, um, financially unstable, or are abusive, or are unfaithful, or untruthful, or manipulative. Or we're not inviting anybody. Nobody's showing up. There's that as well. And there's, and so if usually when we like get curious about that, we start to find a pattern. Like, wow, this keeps showing up again and again. And you can trace that back very often to, wow, this is very similar to my upbringing, because we end up
Oh,
repeating a lot of what we grew up with in some form or another. It our childhood absolutely impacts our relationships as adults. Um, until we really, I mean, it's going to always have an influence and an impact. But when we really start to do that work and look at, okay, why? How is this impacting me? How is my relationship with my father or my parents' relationship with each other, or this event that happened to me as a child or as a young teenager somewhere early in my life? How is that manifesting my response or the story I've made up about that? How is that manifesting in my life today? How is it impacting my relationships? We sort of, it's almost cliche that we attract our fathers, or it's like, wow, there it is.
right.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
But what we forget, what we don't, I guess, give credence to or recognize until some point is when we arrive, we don't have any stories. We don't know relationships. And the only way we learn them is through the observation. And when you're a little kid, you don't know that you could go, well, I don't think that's the healthiest relationship I've ever seen.
Mm-mm.
Or I
Yeah,
don't think that's right. I think I would choose something different. You just think that's the
right.
way the world is. And without some work around that, you do see people. I mean, it is completely cliche, but cliches come from somewhere. They come for a
Hmm.
reason
Hmm.
because people do date that thing that they've been so often exposed to and they think is normal, even if intellectually they want something different,
Right. But
right?
our nervous systems, I mean, it's a physical thing. We are hardwired for that. As I've studied um, childhood trauma, which we all have our own version, variation of that. Even the best of family upbringings has its version, but
All life has bumps.
all life has bumps. I mean, that's part of what life is, and how we survive those bumps and how we teach ourselves and train ourselves to get our needs met and to stay alive through childhood. We develop strategies that we then carry forward into our life that have served us well. They were there for a reason. But then they also end up creating a cycle where we
Right.
end up repeating again and again the same thing over and over until we go, oh, wait a minute. That's a survival strategy that I developed as a kid. And it served me then. Thank you very much. But it's tripping me up now and it's making me be attracted to or attract to me the same thing that I don't want. And I keep doing it. So when we bring it into the light, then there's opportunity for healing and for transforming those stories and transforming those strategies so that we actually do create what we really want.
And those
So,
instinct things are hard.
mhm.
Maybe hard's the wrong word, but it does take intention, and it's not a one shot deal to shift those, that way of that subconscious almost. This is what I'm attracted to. This is what I'm attracted to. I was having a conversation one day just recently with a friend of mine. And have you ever heard the term snag?
Yes.
Sensitive new age guy?
Oh,
S
no.
Yeah, so
I like
it's
that.
not rude. It's not rude
Yeah.
at all. And maybe that's just colloquial for the area that I'm in, but
Mhm.
and this
Yeah,
was
my area
probably,
too, yeah.
yeah, probably 20 years ago, sensitive new age guy, but women wouldn't ever date them for very long because instinctually they wanted some rugged,
Mhm.
tough guy instead of this sensitive new age guy who'd actually have a conversation with them.
Right.
So they'd write down, well, this is what I value in a man, but this is who I'm going to date. Kind of like
Mhm.
you were alluding to with the
Mhm.
workshop that you do. And I mean, I was saying to him, you're a sensitive new age guy, so you have an extra challenge that the women probably would have the best relationship with you, but they're not ready. They haven't
Mhm.
figured out that that's actually what they need,
Yeah,
right?
right, exactly. Exactly, and it's different for all of us, There's nothing right or wrong or better or worse for a sensitive new age guy snag. I love that. I'm taking that with me. Right. Um, it's like who's right for me? And so in my own story, because I grew up, I was some of us are rebels, like, push against and go find our own way. And, then we have the the issues of like reacting to what we got. Me, I was taught to be terrified of rebelling because I grew up in a very religious upbringing, and rebellion is the sin of witchcraft. And
Oh,
you know what we do to witches. So I was terrified, and I watched my brother kind of push back and rebel against a little bit with my dad, and I saw what happened to him, and that terrified me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be good and sweet and good and like compliant with all the stuff. And so um where was I going with this?
your upbringing.
I was like, oh, okay. So I learned in my survival strategy in my upbringing was to please everybody, was to become whoever other people want, the people who are important to me, to become whoever they wanted me to be. I will morph myself into whatever is the most wanted and needed in my environment at any given time. And so what went undeveloped was my own sense of myself, who I am, what I want, what my desires, what my opinions are, what I really want to create in my life. It was all, what am I supposed to want? What do other people want me to want? What does God want me to want? What it was, everything, my own sense of self was just subsumed to the external. And
Hmm.
I didn't realize I was doing that. No one said, Fawn, what do you want? Like that question never came up. It just was, this was the way it was. This is the way it was supposed to be. So consequently, it was impossible for me to find real, authentic, intimate, lasting love because I was so disconnected from my own self, from my own true, authentic self. It's who am I supposed to love,
Right.
right? Who am I? Who's appropriate for me? Um, who is going to help me win the approval of the people that I'm trying to win the approval of? And so I had a whole long series of very disappointing relationships that went nowhere, that were just meh, like because because I was so disconnected from me. And so I finally met somebody who checked all the boxes that I thought I was supposed to check.
Right.
And I got engaged to this guy. And he turned out to be narcissist, abusive, manipulative, dishonest, no integrity. Like,
So he checked these boxes and these boxes.
Yes, right, both on both lists. Right, except yeah, and it's like, "Wait a minute." So, thankfully, I had friends who helped me because anyone who's been in an abusive relationship, it can be difficult to extricate yourself from that, and I used to say, "Well, why don't they just leave?" It's
Yeah.
it's not easy, and fortunately, I had a wonderful circle of friends and family around me who were able to walk me through untangling myself from that relationship and letting him go, which I'm eternally grateful for. But it really brought me to a place of soul searching in that, "Wait a minute, I thought I was right on the right path. I thought God had brought me this guy." I
Right.
mean, so now I had to go, wow, maybe not. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I'm misunderstanding all of it. Like, I clearly missed the memo on relationships. And that's when I just started going into some deep soul searching, some deep questioning, and ultimately began working with a coach. And her first question to me, well, she asked a couple big questions to me. But the first one that was so hard was, "Fawn, what do you really want?" And I couldn't answer it. I had no
Right.
idea how to answer that question. I
It's
was
always,
afraid of that question.
yeah, it's always really interesting to me when you ask someone something like that and they don't have an answer. And I feel like they do have an answer, but because no one's ever asked them, it's like a foreign language, right?
Yeah,
They can't
it's
understand the question.
right. What do you mean, what do I want? That's not who cares what I want? What do you
Right.
want me to want?
Yeah.
What
You tell
am I
me and I'll
supposed
tell
to
you.
want? Yeah, tell me what I should want, right? It's like it's a terrifying question for a lot of us, and, um, yeah, and I mean, in my upbringing, it's like desire will lead you down the path to horrible things. So it was like those are years we suppress that. And so that was very scary for me to start to explore what is my desire and to
Mm,
honor that part of myself and to find out, I went on a journey of trying to find out who I really am because I didn't know outside of who I was supposed to be. So it was a process. It took some time. It wasn't an overnight thing. I'm still on that journey.
I don't know that we finished that journey because every time we wake up, we're not exactly the same as we were,
Right.
and we're informed by experience. And
Mhm.
um, as you maybe you don't even know yet
Right.
well, you can never know what's next, but it's like, what's around the corner, and how will that impact me? I only know what I know right now, and this
Right.
right now is me. And
Yeah. In this moment, right. In this moment, here's who I think I am, right? Here's what I think I want and desire. Right, but when
and
you take all the external pieces out of it, then we're down to just our own core self, you
and it's
know?
funny that,
Yeah.
this doesn't usually happen to me that I think of because I don't watch rom-coms at all,
Mhm.
or those kinds of movies, but you remember the movie The Runaway Bride?
Oh, yes. Right.
Where she didn't ever quite really get married, but it was almost like I feel like part of her knew that you don't even know what you want at this point, but you just
Mm-mm.
keep getting married, or you keep saying yes and just going with it
Right, and
until
the
you
panicking.
until you
That
get
was
to that point, you're like, "Oh my god, what am I doing here?"
right, and then break another heart. I mean, that was kind of my story a lot, in all of these relationships because it would get just so close and then I'd panic. Like, "No, I don't wanna do this," and then I'd pull back and, um like something deep within me knew. Like when
Right.
you really get deeply honest with yourself, which sometimes like on being on the verge of getting married can like
You're
bring a
staring
wake up.
down 40 years,
Yes,
right?
exactly. You go, oh, hold on. Hold on a minute. Let me all of a sudden we know what we don't want. I mean, maybe sometimes that's where we start. I
That's
don't
usually
want
where
40
I
years
start.
with this person,
Yeah.
right? Got it. So, yeah. So that's, and after I would say for me, that process of really beginning to I'll give myself permission to question my own stories I've been living in all these years and to start to unpack and unravel this whatever, this world I had allowed, this that I had built in order to get the love or connection I thought I needed from my environment. When I started to do this work, it wasn't long before things started to shift for me,
Okay.
and my now husband of 22 years came into focus. And we had known each other for years and had dated off and on. He was in love with me, but I had kept him at arm's length because 40 years and he didn't check all those boxes that I was supposed to check. And so I just
Were those your check boxes or someone else's
they
check
were someone
boxes?
else's, that's the
Right.
thing. They were the appropriate check boxes, and so I had just written him off, except that I was very attracted to him. So I was in this push-pull with him, which was extremely uncomfortable, especially for him, because I would do that. I'd let him get so close, then I'd push him away. And we bless his dear, precious heart. This went on for, like, 7 years.
Wow.
And I mean, I was in other relationships, and in that meantime, also, I even got engaged to this other guy, I went through that whole process and trauma and everything, and then I said no to everybody for a while after that because I realized I had to do my own work. So
Right.
he and I didn't speak for an entire year,
Wow.
and I had to do my work. It was this, I was like, "All right, I either need to just, like, join a convent and,
Not that
just
that's a
it's gonna
bad
be
thing, but
not no, if it's your calling, that's great. I need to just be celibate or I need to figure this out because I'm done with this cycle, repeating the same pattern over and over again."
and
And
do you
yeah,
find that you have to be single to do that work? Like, can you find that space to do your thinking and do your, uh, processing of everything while in a relationship?
absolutely, you can. You can. And I do often work with women who are in relationships, and I'm still doing my own processing 22 years into our marriage.
Right.
And thankfully, I'm with someone who we get to kind of do that together. We're in that conversation. And you know, absolutely, because what I've discovered, so for me with the work I do, it's like as I do my work, I become more of my own true authentic self. I speak my truth. I own my desires. I ask for what I need and want. I am vulnerable and I'm not saying I'm all the time doing this, but the more that I um shed my need to please everybody else, the more I honor my own true self, the better partner I become, the healthier our relationship becomes. My husband benefits from that because now he knows who I am. He knows what I need and what I want, and he can trust that I'm going to be truthful with him and allow him to, I'm interested also in what he needs and what he wants, but
That's what I was
yeah.
just thinking, like, the other half side of it is your partner. I mean, ideally, thinking of boxes to check, is someone who feels like they can also express what they need and who they
Yeah,
are. And
exactly.
that, I mean, my husband and I have an agreement that we're allowed to call each other on our bullshit, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we do too.
Without repercussions
Mhm.
and with kindness, but
Yes.
we've given each other that permission and that understanding that it comes from that place of love and respect and understanding, but you're being a little crazy right now.
Mhm. Right, exactly. Yeah, and we have that as well, and it's so essential, I think, for a healthy relationship, because otherwise you're thinking it anyway, you're noticing it, and so then you just hold it in and build resentment.
Or you create a
Or
story that may
yes.
not even be accurate. I
Mhm.
mean, I've talked to clients who have asked me questions, and I'm not a relationship counselor, but they'll say, "This happened with my relationship." And I will say, "Did you talk about it?" "No, no, no." "Well, then how do you know that's actually what happened?"
Right, right. We fill in the blanks rather
Really well,
than take the risk of asking the questions or being curious.
right?
Right? Curiosity is a wonderful thing, and after, like I say, for us, I don't know, how long have you 2 been together?
17, 18. Ooh,
Okay.
I should know the answer to
Sorry,
that.
on the spot. Right? We've been, 22 years since we've been married, and obviously, we were in a relationship for 7 years before that, so, um but he's not the same man I met way back when, and I'm not the same woman. I mean, in one sense, in my essence, yes. But like you said, who I am today may not be who I was yesterday.
Right?
And same with him. And so when I make up a story that I've got him fixed in this box, you're always this, no matter what, then our relationship starts to get stagnant because I'm no longer curious about who is this person? Who is he becoming? Who is he growing into? What is he challenged with right now that maybe he wasn't challenged with a year ago, right? Or vice versa.
Right.
So, yeah, um, and it's funny because I'm looking for it, but I developed uh, so many of my clients have really been able to transform their relationships and really win in love, either in finding and establishing a solid life partnership and a healthy relationship, or transforming their existing relationship um, to make it stronger. And there were like 9 qualities that I saw that were really consistent with everybody, that they all shared, that either had all along or developed along the way, and of course, these are my clients, these are qualities that they developed. One is, of course, having understanding healthy boundaries,
Right.
right? And being able to establish them in a way that's loving and clear, that honors both ourselves and the other. Um, being clear, like we talked about, of what you want and what you need, and being able to communicate that. Um, being unashamed about wanting love and being willing to share it and be open about saying, I want a really amazing, powerful, beautiful love that lasts for life. and letting the world know about that.
And I'm valuable enough to deserve that,
Yes,
right?
I'm worthy of that, and, like, knowing that, knowing that I'm, like, doing that so that because many of us, especially from our upbringing, deep down don't think, "That's for those other people, not for me. I'm not worthy of that." It's a deep inner story we have. So, transforming that story, not just with a platitude, but actually recognizing where it came from and transforming it so that we start to own our worth and our value, and then no longer wasting time in relationships with people who don't see our value, who don't value or respect us. So many women I've worked with have spent years of their life in relationships with people who literally did not value them,
Right?
right? And we do that because then the question is, well, why? Well, because deep down I agree with them. I think this is the best I deserve,
Right?
right? So this is where we settle. So transforming that relationship with ourselves then transforms all our other relationships. So,
And it's so good when you can find that place with that person, because I joke with my husband, in soccer, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I
yes.
tell him that he's the GOAT with an HGHOAT, greatest husband of all time.
Oh, that's so
Right?
sweet. I love that.
Yeah, he's my GOAT.
He's your goat.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and yeah, it's awesome when you find that. And I can remember times in my life where I thought it was, Disneyland, the thing. Like, that doesn't happen to actual people, right?
Mhm. Right.
Or the people who look like they have that are faking.
Right. Right. They're lying.
They're
They're lying.
lying,
I know. There's so much cynicism. Nobody's happy in their relationship. There are no happy marriages. And
right?
right.
But there are,
Mm.
my
There
friends,
are.
there
Yes,
are.
there are.
And you said you had 9 things, so but, is there a way for them to get segue those 9
Oh, I'm so
things?
glad you asked that. Yes. Yes, I have a PDF of those 9 qualities that I would be happy to send to your listeners for free. It's nice. It has a lovely little photo, Steve and me together, and has all 9 qualities on it. It's just a PDF that I would encourage everybody to print out, put it in some wonderful prominent place where you'll see it every day, and just check in, because it's not about, oh, well, I'm just never going to make it because I don't check all these boxes. No, it's a way of going, okay, how can I manifest this quality? Just choose one, just today, or just in this relationship I'm in right now. How can I show up in this way? Just simple. So I'd be happy to send that to your audience. I'll give you the link
That
but
would
you can
be
also go to my website, which is, what's that? Where's the link?
that's me saying that it's in the
Whichever it
show
is,
notes. It's in the show
in the
notes
show notes. But
somewhere,
you can go to my website. It's viragolove.com is my website.
and
And you
I
can
I
get
want
it
I
there.
want you to tell everybody what virago is, because I thought that was great.
So virago is the ancient word for, it's the feminine of warrior. So I was looking for, because my clients are warriors. They're courageous. It is a courageous work to take yourself on and take your relationships on and be willing to let go of the things we cling to that are keeping us in that secure little box of what we have. So it takes a warrior spirit, but it's a feminine. It's a feminine work. And so I did some sleuthing about the feminine word for warrior, and it's virago. It was often used as a pejorative toward women because, surprise, surprise, because it's a word used for women who speak up, who speak their truth, who ask for what they want and need, who perhaps take leadership and upset the status quo, especially a
Imagine that.
patriarchal status quo. So Joan of Arc was considered a virago, and she was loved by some and hated by many, right? Because she took a stand as a woman following her own core values
Right.
and being true to excuse me.
It's all right. It's a lot of talking, I know.
I know, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's real life. It's
Dryness
hard to
in my
speak your
throat.
truth with a dry throat.
It is. This is actually my 3rd hour going straight
Oh
on
my gosh.
calls, so
Thank you
I
so
think
much
that's it.
then. Yeah.
But, yes, so my women are love warriors. But, I also think of, like, Wonder Woman. If you saw the movie, I love her because she's fierce and she's powerful and she knows who she is. And she's also very feminine and vulnerable at the same time.
Right.
I'm not crying, it's my throat.
It's okay. It's okay. And I think about so, female warriors and because I also am a fitness person. There's a woman who I watch a lot of her training videos, and every now and then she will throw out a, "What are we doing today? We're crushing the patriarchy."
Yes. Right.
I was like, "Okay, all I'm doing is lifting a few weights, but for sure I'll crush the patriarchy
Let's just
today."
do it. Right. Yeah, and I'll just say real quickly, is that I am not about sometimes people hear that and it can feel very threatening, or like it's angry or whatever. I'm about restoring balance. And I think the best thing that this world could use right now is women who step into their true, authentic, healthy, feminine power, which is different. It's the balance.
Yeah.
Right? And when we do that, it's an invitation for men to find that balance as well. So when you were talking earlier, what was it? Salt? No,
Snag.
self-aware.
Snag.
Snag, right?
Sensitive new age guy.
Right? It's like, okay, I mean, I wanna it's like the balance of the masculine and feminine and the dance of that is just so beautiful. We all have both within us. We all have both masculine and feminine. We need both, right? But very much in the world now, many women have to take on more and more of this masculine energy in order to thrive in the world. And so then it's challenging, and we don't know how to shift into the feminine, which is really where our energy comes from. And I
Right.
understand these are big generalities, and there's exceptions, but it's archetypal I'm
Yeah.
talking about,
I mean,
right?
I talked to an embodied feminine leadership coach who teaches women how to be that leadership role and not
Mhm.
not necessarily lose their feminine power. So,
Yes.
and crushing the patriarchy isn't crushing men
No,
because
it's
I
not.
love men. It's about
I do too. I
it's
do
about
too. They're
changing
wonderful.
the it's about changing that balance and respect for all. How about humans? Let's have respect for
Exactly.
humans in general,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's
So
the
that's so awesome.
systems that, yeah, keep us in this place.
Yes. So for sure, everyone at least check out your 9 qualities. I know I'm going to check them out.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Thank you.
is it called, I'm looking at my note, Dating for Keeps?
Yes. So, dating for keeps, the secret to finding your partner for life. It's a 2-hour workshop that we do online with a small group of women. You get private coaching over those 2 hours, and we do these exercises, some exercises we talked about, to really help you identify your own blueprint, your own unique path, because we're all different. We have similarities, but we're all different. So what is it for me that is blocking real and lasting love from being manifested in my life, specifically for me? What is my unique thing? You'll find that on this workshop. I will help you. I'll work with you individually and in this small group in those 2 hours. And so I'm inviting your audience to come join me on this workshop. I'm doing it every month. When you get this, when you download the 9 qualities, you'll get an invitation to the next workshop that's
Awesome.
coming up in a couple weeks or a week. And check it out. Come join me and a small group of other women, and we'll just dive in and do the work.
Amazing. And yes, be patient and give yourself grace to do the exploration and be on that discovery place, because it's once you start down it, you just find so many amazing things that
Oh
you
my
just didn't even
goodness.
realize,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Fawn, for
Mm.
joining me. Now, before we go, I always ask, do you have a final word or two of wisdom for everyone?
I want to say what you just said, but yes, be absolutely patient with yourself. And I would say the other thing is, don't give up. Don't ever give up. There is always, always, always hope. Where there's life, there's hope. And even if it feels impossible and hopeless and you've never experienced it before, you think, I want that, but it's not for me. Don't give up. Take the baby steps toward hope. It's like you signal to the universe, like, no, I declare, even if I don't feel it, I declare that I am worthy of really amazing, wonderful love. I don't know how or where or what, but I'm just going to make that declaration and see what happens. Allow the universe to meet you there.
That's
So
awesome. I wish I said that. Thank you so much for spending
Thank you,
some time
Heather.
with us. I know it's a long day of recordings and talking, so thank you, thank you. And
Pleasure. Thank you.
yes, thank you. And my friend out there in podcast land, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please check in with Fawn and click some of those links and get that PDF and get yourself on the road to a fabulous relationship. Even if you're in a fabulous relationship, why not do it? Because everything could always become more fabulous. My friend, have an amazing day. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Hi, my friend. Thanks so much for listening to this entire podcast. If you found it useful and you're like me and you like helping others, please feel free to share this. Give it a like, give it a comment. If you found something useful in it, there's a chance that someone else will find something useful as well. Also, if you have any questions at all, I can absolutely help, and I would love to help. You can email me at heather@prosperityflowcoaching.com. If you want more of this awesome content, you can follow me on Instagram, Heather Stewart Coaching. You can follow me on Facebook, Prosperity Flow Coaching. And I have a personal request. I want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. And if you could give me a review, hopefully a good one, if you could share, if you could send this out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope that you find your way to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend.